Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 72. It's Thursday, so we've got Jim F0123 Art on with us, and yeah, let's get into it. How you doing, Jim?
I am doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, it's been a long, takes me some, I need to, I gotta like pull a Vader and get like a stasis chamber.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, get an oxygen chamber like Michael Jackson had.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Suck down propanol and fucking...
There you go. That's what you need.
We had a great weekend, though.
We did.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of fun. So, we covered it a little bit with Partially Proficient, but we had the Granite State Comic Con last weekend.
Yes, we did.
What a blast.
It was certainly a blast.
It's fun to just see, it's fun to be around other artists, to see their work.
Yeah.
It's fun to see the fans. It's fun to meet with you guys and talk with you guys and... just get the feedback in real time.
Yeah, it's a real different experience being on the other side of the table, right? We've been to many where we went as, guests to go to the cons and enjoy the cons, but being on the other side of the table, actually working it's a different experience. You get to see a lot of different things, and it's great to be able to talk to the fans in a different type of way than you would if you were just amongst them as one of them.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great to watch, see all the cosplays and everything. And but from like seeing the expo itself, like no, you're just in your little spot. Like you just get to see that little section. Peter Laird
was there.
How awesome is that?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that these guys, they're from the local area.
Yeah.
They come around to these cons quite often, and it's nice that they, continue to do so. So, to have a legend like Peter Laird there, feet from our table is really cool.
It was incredible. And he just comes across as the most down-to-earth, nice guy.
Right, exactly.
So, that was an incredible surprise. I didn't even know.
Yeah, no, it was not advertised. I think that this was a last minute, hey, I'm going to be available and I'm going to make my way down there. And they're like, you going to say no to Peter Laird? Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, who says no to Peter Laird?
Of course.
But no, it was just a really, really awesome experience,
Yeah.
But I'm tired.
Of course.
That's the thing is like when I was talking to some of the people, I was telling them like, oh yeah, we do the art, but we make all the products too. And I don't think a lot of people are doing that.
No, a lot of people will outsource the manufacturing end of things.
Yeah.
And here we don't. We actually manufacture our own products that we're selling, and we're creating the artwork and all of that. So there's a lot that goes into it, and we're glad when people appreciate what we're doing and show that with purchasing the goods.
Yeah, for sure. So we got some more coming up this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. So what else you got for me now?
So I know you're a fan of Fables, the comic book.
Oh, I love the game and I love the comics.
Right.
Bill Willingham, fantastic.
And so he has a contract with DC Comics, who does the publishing.
Right, they published the original set of Fables.
And he just did a 12-issue arc that has not completed yet. It got to 9, and then for some reason, distribution stopped. He doesn't have any idea when it's coming out, but the problem is that he's going back and forth with DC about money owed, right? He's having a lot of contractual issues with DC Comics, and he doesn't feel like he's being treated fairly. They're kind of reneging on the deal, and the people that he made the contracts with are no longer in DC Comics, so he's dealing with people that are very shady and underhanded.
So he's dealing with like a whole new set of people with a contract from the previous regime.
Right. So new lawyers, you know what I mean? Things like that, where they're really...
they're trying to prove themselves because they're new and
so
everything.
So they're dicking them around, and he was getting very frustrated.
Yeah, not one of the guys you want to dick around.
No. So he said, at his age, with the amount of money that it would cost to go against DC and how many years it would be held up, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to fight DC. I do have a contract. I'm going to stick to that contract, and I'll fight for trying to get my money and, fulfill the obligation so that I can, be done with the contract when it ends. However, you, the general public, do not have a contract with DC, so I'm going to put my product into public domain, and it's all yours now, and you can have it and do with it what you will. DC cannot touch you.
That's insane.
Absolutely insane.
That is a boss move if
Total
there ever
boss
was
move.
one. So just to clarify how that works, though, the comic books are still off limits.
Correct.
The game is off limits.
Correct.
Anything that is out now is off limits.
Correct.
But you can write your own Fables stories. You can do fan art and sell it and use the Fables names. That is
you can have the characters and their likenesses.
Right.
You just can't touch anything that was already distributed by DC.
The problem is one of the problems is that if you were to draw a Bigby, right, and I mean he looks how he looks, right, and you put him in any kind of pose that DC would deem theirs, they can strike you. And copyright laws are vague enough. That's why I keep arguing for reform, because they're so vague.
Right.
And a lot of times it comes down to the corporations that want to police and enforce their copyright. And DC and Warner Brothers are notorious.
Right. And Bill Willingham also wants to reform it and came out with a plan, whereas you have a 20-year copyright, and then if you sell your copyright to a different company within that time, you get 10 more years. So you have a maximum copyright of 30 years. And then when 30 years is over, that goes into the public domain for everybody to have.
Which it really should.
Makes
we
sense
shouldn't
to
be
me.
doing these 100-year copyrights. You know?
No.
Because the thing is, and you can argue, oh, well, they paid money for the IP and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but you're taking something that's a creative space and trying to turn it into business. It's like the people that made these legendary, characters and stuff, a lot of them are long dead.
Sure.
And just
and
because
it's their families in the estates that are, fighting
right, or
the
they've
copyright,
sold it to, one of the big four. And to me, it's just like, I understand that you don't want other people making, maybe comic books or movies.
Right.
But leave fan art, leave small creators alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's the thing. Am I going to draw an art print of Fables? You're damn right I'm going
Hell
to.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what I mean? If it's a pose that's close enough, I mean, if you're really going to come after me where I'm not, what am I going to make for money comparatively to DC Comics? You know what right, and that's the problem, right? It's like, think about it. You think about an independent artist like myself or yourself, and what are we impacting DC Comics? Like, again, you're not even putting out the damn final issues under the contract that you have. And what, you're going to go after small independent artists that's trying to make a small amount of money on characters that now are available to us because it has a similar pose? Like, get fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, copyright is just such a mess. It just really is, and it allows for these corpos to kind of step on, any sort of creativity.
Right.
Just to make money.
You look at that Winnie the Pooh movie that came out, right?
Yeah,
that
Blood and Honey.
Right. That movie came out. Is that doing any harm to the Winnie the Pooh that Disney puts out?
Nope.
Of course it isn't.
Nobody thought it was from Disney. Everybody had a little bit of a laugh because it kind of looked like Pooh, and that was it.
But you know how to differentiate. Look, we're people, we have a brain, we can differentiate between the two. So,
but here's the thing: is I could make a shirt, right? And my shirts are quality,
right?
You're still gonna know it's not from the company,
sure, right? But again, you can make a Winnie the Pooh as long as it's the classic and not the red shirt.
Yeah, but
Disney
you can make
version.
the red shirt Disney version as long as it's satire,
right? But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, what is it cutting into?
Or not
Disney,
satire, parody,
sure,
excuse me.
Right. But Disney, if they want to still make their version and make all their money on the IPs that they own, they can. Obviously, this isn't going to cut into it. It's not, and even if you do satire and parody, even if you do something relatively close, or bastardize it like this Winnie the Pooh movie, it's still not going to negatively impact the IP owner.
I don't think Blood and Honey affected, Winnie the Pooh's bottom line at all.
Of course it didn't. And so why can't people do that? Why can't people make a comic book that is of that property, but is different than the IP owners, or a T-shirt or a movie or whatever the medium you choose?
The other half of it is that if they weren't so tight with the IPs, if I could pay them, 10 or 20% of each sale,
sure,
of an IP property, I would be fine doing that. Like, right. I'm not saying, I understand, at the end of the day, this is a business. This isn't me saying, peace and love, everything free. But at the same time, it's but I reach out to you guys and you tell me no. And then that's just it. So it's it would be one thing if you weren't gatekeeping some of the most important properties, in pop culture. Mm-hmm. But if you were just it's a 25% fee to use these IP characters that you got to pay to, DC or Warner Brothers or whoever.
Right.
Every creative I know would be totally fine doing that.
They would. And again, it's not going to stop the owner of the copyright from still producing everything that they still want to produce.
It's revenue for small businesses, and then they become heroes in the community, because it's just oh man, Warner Brothers really works with artists. They are so in support of small art.
And that's the thing, right? Why I don't understand why they don't want the goodwill, considering there's nothing but bad will.
They don't care.
No, they don't care, and that's the problem. And that's why everybody hates these mega corporations, because of their non-care of the fans, their non-care of small business, and truly their non-care of the IPs themselves. Because, when you look at some of the financials, these IPs are dying because of how poorly they're being treated, and people that might actually treat them with the love and respect of the original creation, you're being told to go screw, because we're not going to allow you to do that. Even if you're willing to give us a percentage of sales, we'd rather have it rot than work with small business to help them.
It's brutal.
It is brutal.
It is such a broken system.
Yeah, completely broken.
And what's worse is, so I think, and again, feel free to check me in the comments, but anything after or before 1935 right now is public domain.
Sure.
And even with that, I get nervous sometimes. I've posted a Metropolis poster, and I get nervous posting them, just because it's just I don't want to get a strike.
Right, and then you got to look at, because, and I've done art that we're looking to sell, right? And I've looked at the public domain and what is it that you can and can't do, because even if it's in the public domain, you have to make sure it's the version, you're doing the version that's in the public domain, because some of it is not in the public domain, and you can't, if you cross that line, you're going to get a strike.
And then what makes it even trickier is there's not even like a government database of everything that's in public domain.
No.
Like there should be a database of this is safe to use.
Right.
But there's not.
No.
So it's just like you're making it that much harder for us as artists to use IPs.
Yeah.
You know, like, I would love to use Dracula or Phantom of the Opera. That's all safe, you know, but there's nowhere that there's no official place that gives you the thumbs up.
No, I mean, you can go on Google and look at it, but you have to hope that what you're reading is actually
accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I know that it's so far down and there's so much lobbying that it'll, you know, it copyright reform is you know, dust in the wind, basically. But I think, you know, half of the problem with doing this as a career is that you're locked out of so many amazing characters.
Right. Exactly. I mean, again, it's easy to say, "Oh, create your own." You know, you can't just all of a sudden create your own and have them become iconic overnight. That takes a lot of work and a lot of years to get them to that level. So what you need out of the gate is the already established ones that they won't give you access to.
Just a way to pay the bills, you know? And then you can kind of, maybe you do create your own. But
sure,
like you say, there are very, very few characters that pop up.
But the only way you can really create your own and work to get that is by having the already established ones, right, like you said, paying the bills,
right,
so that you can focus your attention somewhere else. But because they don't allow that, you know, you're kind of screwed. What are you going to... You just can't hope and pray that you can create something that becomes iconic.
Plus, I love a lot of those properties.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the worst part is I love these properties. Like, I want to create within these properties because I care about them.
Right. That's the other thing. The love you have for the properties, you want to treat them with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah, like
you're not allowed to.
I'm not going to a Comic Con and being like, well, this is just business.
Right.
It's like, no, I love this shit.
Exactly. We've been going to them for a long time.
As fans.
And now we're going on the other side of it, still as fans, though.
Right, and I think having conversations with people, that shines through.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I really think good for Bill Willingham.
Yeah,
like, what a
for sure.
What a fucking move.
Yeah.
What a hero.
Yeah,
you
total
know?
boss.
And fuck all the corporations that are ruining creativity.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right, let's move away from this because I can feel my fucking blood pressure. You know, I'm going to spout a forehead leak.
Yeah.
What else you got?
So, Aquaman 2 is coming out in December.
I mentioned Aquaman 2 for whatever reason. Oh, when there was the fire in Hawaii and, you know, they were like, So I mentioned it to my partner and she goes, wait, didn't that come out like 2 years ago?
Yeah, of course it did. So obviously we know.
Oh, it's a dumpster fire.
Right. So the DCEU, as we know, has put out, 5 massive flops in a row, right?
Yeah.
We know it's dead. We know it's a dead end.
Well, there's a rumor going around that the reason that the Mortal Kombat game came out, because they make Injustice too.
Right.
They were making an Injustice game, and Zaslav was like, no, fuck that. It's a dying animal.
Mm-hmm.
Make a Mortal Kombat game. So they were like scrambling.
Sure. And, you know, until we get, you know, James Gunn to take over and put out his vision.
Yeah, but not till what, 25?
Right. So we're stuck with one last movie to put this Zack Snyder verse to bed finally and let it die.
They are releasing. I heard they lost it for a while.
Yeah.
They found it though.
Yeah. So they've been having test screenings.
Yeah.
Which have not been going well at all. And
what's the feedback?
Well, so the feedback was that people are actually getting up and walking out.
It's that bad?
It is. But, so in my mind, the first thought is it's Amber Heard, right?
Right.
People are, you know, because again, there is a massive online boycott to make sure people don't go to this movie because you didn't take Amber Heard out and or cancel this movie altogether.
Right.
So there's a big push to boycott this movie.
She was a bad actress to begin with, and now people actively hate her.
Right. And I think that, and I'll still stick by my guns, that The Flash was hurt by Ezra Miller and people boycotting it because of Ezra Miller.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that Aquaman 2 is going to feel the same backlash. And again, just like Blue Beetle and everything.
Maybe to like a lesser extent, because she's not the main character.
Right. A lesser extent. But again, people are not going to spend money on these dead-end projects.
No,
that's going to be a big issue.
Money is tighter than it's been in years.
Right.
And on top of that, people are like done with DC.
Right, exactly. For now, until James Gunn takes over, they're done with DC movies.
I mean, Blue Beetle didn't do well.
No, it flopped massively.
Right. Flash didn't do well.
No, massive flop.
And what I keep hearing...
Shazam 2, massive flop.
I keep hearing
Black
that
Adam.
they're okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They are not horrible movies.
No, even Black Adam wasn't horrible.
No, just people don't want to spend money on dead-end projects.
No.
With
especially in the superhero vein,
right? With actors that are no longer going to be there going forward,
right?
Why invest your time and money into it? I'll wait until the James Gunn verse happens. So there's a lot going against this movie. I mean, like,
don't get me wrong, I'll catch Joker when it comes out, but that's not.
But Joker is part of this new.
Yeah, but I mean, the way I look at it is like. Joker 1 came out in the middle of the Snyderverse, so it's technically a carryover.
Sure.
The Batman 2 is kind of a carryover.
But because they're Elseworld, they can exist.
And they're very good.
And they're very good. So I'm thinking, as I said, that people just are like, nope, it sucks, or I can't stand Amber Heard, she's in it more.
But to walk out.
Right. But that's not why they're walking out. So I found out, okay, what is it that they're walking out? So they have a child in this movie.
Oh, Mira in
Aquaman.
And what the hell's his name?
Arthur Curry.
Arthur, yeah.
Supposedly the baby dies.
Oh, my.
Gets killed by Black Manta.
Oh, my.
Which in the comics happened.
That's pretty hardcore.
It happened. So in the comics, he does die by Black Manta, but he's a little bit older, right? Like a preteen teen, right?
Yeah,
This is a baby.
Okay.
And the baby in the test screenings does get killed by Black Manta.
That's rad.
And that's why the people are walking out.
What the fuck is that?
And I'm like, what? What? Like, this is a movie. Like, they didn't really kill the baby.
Yeah, what do you think? They sacrificed a baby?
Yeah. It's like
they might have, but not this baby.
And I'm like, well, I don't remember any outrage. Not that I can remember because of my age, but I don't. Pet Sematary came out, and there was a baby that got killed in that movie.
I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but I rewatched Pet Sematary recently, and I don't have any kids, but I'm of age, and I remember watching it as a kid. It was scary.
Sure.
Right? And then I watch it as an adult and I'm like, oh, this is just about grief.
Right.
What a different...
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, but I didn't pick up on it as a kid.
Oh, no, of course
but
not.
What a different experience,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nobody gave a shit about that.
I mean, again, you have to understand, this is a movie. This isn't real life. This didn't really happen.
But you're going to walk out of a movie because a baby in the story got killed?
Right. And now I'm seeing online people are like, oh, they better take that out. They better not leave that in.
Why?
Right.
That would be foolish. Good for them for doing it.
But again, it's in the comics. It's comic accurate. Now, maybe the age is a little bit different, but so what? Is it if he was a 14-year-old, is it okay to kill him?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't understand what the age of the child matters, but this was something that they're taking from the pages of the comic and making it a part again.
In that last voyage of the Demeter, a kid dies.
Right. And
nobody says anything.
And the thing is, you have to remember, This movie was made with the thought that this was going to keep going forward.
Right.
So, yeah, I understand. Again, this is a dead end. I doubt Jason Momoa is coming back as Aquaman going forward. And this really is going to lead to nothing. But when they made the movie, that wasn't the case. I'm sure Black Manta, if he survives, you know, or maybe he doesn't survive. Maybe this is a reason why Aquaman kills Black Manta for revenge. But Who knows?
Here's the thing. That right there, right? Audiences walking out because that shows you that in targeting everyone, you fail.
Right.
Because the greater population is going to walk out of a comic accurate plot point, and then people that like it are going to be like, "Oh, we're telling this story, rad."
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you know.
But I don't see, you know. But again, if you take like Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
He wiped out half the population.
There were lots of babies,
right? But just because you don't say it.
Or see it,
it's okay.
Yeah,
like I don't understand the fake outrage for something like this. Like, this is just a movie.
Yeah, selective outrage.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, that's what people are talking about. The reason why they walked out, because potentially there's a scene where, and again, you probably don't even see it. You know, you probably have to infer that it happened.
Right.
But
no, you're not going to see it. It's a PG-13 film.
Right. And, you know, again, it's more than likely, if it's comics accurate, it was suffocation in like a bubble, right? So, I mean, it wasn't like it was shot in the head or something like that. I'm not saying that.
No, but I mean,
killing a baby
scene one of The Walking Dead, like Rick blows a kid's brains out.
Right. You see plenty of kids getting killed in The Walking Dead. I'm just saying, what is the fake outrage on just having something like that, which again is a comic accurate storyline? Whenever I heard that was the reason, I'm like, come on, really?
I don't know. I mean, it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's really, really tricky. I for sure, I wasn't sure it was coming out.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're going to just get it done and over with. You know what I mean? Take the final hit of the year, and
I figured they were
put it to bed.
They already wrote off Batgirl, right? Why not just write it off?
They should have.
Yeah,
I think they should have. But I think that the only reason why I think that they're not is because I think Jason Momoa himself is going to be going forward in the James Gunn DC universe.
Oh, and they don't want to burn the bridge.
Right. I think that might be the only reason. And I think that they may not want to burn the bridge with James Wan, the director, either.
Well, because they have, James Wan and them have that whole like Conjuring and Insidious universe all tied up in Warner Brothers as well.
So I think that those two reasons are the reasons why they're going to let this movie play, in the hopes that maybe people like them enough that they'll go see it. More than likely it's going to flop because of a multitude of different reasons, but I don't think that they wanted to not put it out of respect of those two.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So the real question is going to be, does it flop harder than The Flash?
Yeah, that is going to, because, you know, to be honest, I think that it's going to rival the amount of money it costs to make.
Well, between reshoots and putting it off
and
putting it off.
So it's a very expensive movie.
It's coming out in December.
Mm-hmm.
It's September, mid-September. No marketing.
No, they just dropped the first trailer this past week.
I didn't even watch it. I saw it too. I saw it on YouTube, and I was like,
"No, it's." I mean, again, it's you know, that's the thing. It's like you can't get excited for it because you know it's a dead end property, so there is nothing to be excited about.
No, I get excited for the animated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the animated stuff, I'm really into, and that's about it right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see. I'll give. What's his face? What the hell's the guy's name?
Who? Momoa?
No, the guy who's running it now. James Gunn.
Oh, James Gunn.
I'll give James Gunn a chance.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And I will too, because he deserves a chance.
Right, exactly. He's earned it for everything.
None of these movies are his. He's done nothing wrong.
Right.
I want to see what he does.
Even in the midst of what Disney is. Guardians was, a bright spot in a pile of shit.
Right.
So
the only thing you could look at between phase 4 and 5 that has been remotely successful, that people unanimously have enjoyed.
It's going to be a rough holiday season. We're getting fucking the Marvels in November, followed by Aquaman in December.
Yeah, it's going to be tough on superhero movies for the holiday season.
Talk about a 1-2 punch on that one.
Speaking of superheroes, we talked on the last cast about Miss Marvel.
She was kind of a comic fan. And
did you see how do you see what happened with the Avengers game?
So
that it got delisted.
The thing about the Avengers game, right, is that it was made by whoever it was made by. The parent company is Square Enix, so they're a pretty big gaming company. They do like Final Fantasy and all that sort of stuff. And initially, when they announced it, Spider-Man 1 had just come out, so like people were like all about excited for superhero games because it was like Spider-Man is a great superhero video game. And what it ended up being was basically, a mobile game with all the monetizations and microtransactions, and it was a very grindy sort of game and everything, right? And it peaked for like 3 weeks, and then the player base died, right? Yeah. So what happened was Square was like, all right, this is a dead limb. We have to cut it off. So there's no support. They gave away all the shit in the store. Yep. And like now you're saying it's delisted too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be gone, but right now I think it's selling for like $1.99.
Yeah.
Until they finally remove it forever.
If they shut the servers off, it won't work.
No, they're going to be shutting the servers off, I think, by the end of the month, I think.
Yeah, so it won't even work.
Right. And the reason I bring it up, of course, is because Miss Marvel was the star of this game, even though people thought you could play the other characters.
And you can in multiplayer, but like I really thought, because I played it a bit, I thought you were going to get to pick either Iron Man or Hulk or Black Widow and everything and just run through the story with them.
Nope. And that was designed by Disney to make it that way because, again, they want to push this character.
Yep.
And it's just another example of this character. I mean, you're talking millions and millions of dollars in loss on this game because of who they chose to be the star of this game.
Yeah.
And it's just another hit to this character to show how unpopular she is.
Here's the thing. In the Spider-Man game, right, you can... there are sections where you play as Mary Jane.
Yep. Sure.
But there are just, sections.
But
because you want to play as fucking Spider-Man.
Right.
Or Miles.
But Mary Jane is also a popular character.
Right. But I guess my point to it is, though, is that if Mary Jane was the main character...
No, it wouldn't be successful at all.
Right.
However, if you get a small window of having to play Mary Jane, who is a popular character...
It's a fun kind of different break of the game.
Because you're going to either be Peter or Miles within another few minutes.
Right.
What... In this game, nope. You don't really get that opportunity to play the characters that you want. You're being stuck with a character that no one wants.
You don't see games get delisted too often.
No, and you don't. And that was very surprising when this news came out.
Yeah, but you know what, though? This is so I don't know if you're familiar with Rocksteady. You ever heard of them?
Yes.
Okay, so they made the Batman games, right?
Yep.
And the original 3 are very solid games.
Yeah.
Like there's some of the best Batman game. They are the best Batman games.
Sure.
I can say that confidently. And you had Mark Hamill doing the Joker and Kevin Conroy doing the Bat.
Right. So of course they're the best.
Right, obviously.
Right.
And then Gotham Knights was announced and it was going to be the Bat family, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, not great, but whatever. It could be good.
Could work.
And they did the same thing. it's all microtransactions, and oh, you want this skin? Well, you got to spend these coins, and you can only get these coins if you grind for hours and hours and hours, or pay $10. And so when that's the central loop of a game,
right,
it loses all fun.
Right.
So Gotham Knights tanked.
Yeah, I remember that.
And now Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which was made by Rocksteady, was supposed to come out in January, but I think it got pushed back because same deal. They keep pushing sort of these microtransactions, which is what killed Avengers. It killed Gotham Knights. And if they don't fix it in Suicide Squad, it'll kill that too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Again, you're wanting people to put money down on top of money they've already spent.
And games are $70 now.
And you go into it like, oh, I get to play my favorite character, cool. And then when you find out you can't and you have to pay to unlock that character, like, no, of course people are going to reject these games and they're going to die.
Or like you're playing your character and it's like, well, here's a classic skin. We know you like it, but it's behind a paywall.
Right. Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
So
it's just, it just goes right to the point of, we hear today Iger come out and say, hey, we're gonna cool it on the culture war.
Yeah, we're backing out of the culture war.
And it's like, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. You are the creator of culture war.
Well, hold on now, though. See, I agree. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit for 100 reasons. But I think it's the right call.
It's the right call if you're not just blowing smoke up people's ass. This guy came back and said, I'm going to go double down on woke.
If you don't pull out of the culture war after saying you're gonna, especially with how things are failing, that's the death blow. Because, no one has any faith in Disney right now anyway. And if you're going to fucking say what all the fans have been screaming at you and then not do it, it's over.
Yeah, but I want to know what he means by that and what his intention is.
Yeah, maybe we don't get outraged over, the Seven Dwarves,
But that's still,
maybe we take a minute and
but that's still going to happen. Like, that movie is still going to come out as is.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is. It is. They've said we're not canceling it and or changing it. So this is why I'm saying
then how are you pulling back on the culture war? Because
it'll be after all the stuff we're doing, then we'll do it. Like, probably the 2 years after I'm gone.
Right.
Then we'll worry about it. Like, I don't believe this fucking guy and anything that he says.
Yeah, but he's such a piece of shit that when the writer's strike first started, right, he got on TV and he was like, oh, they can't have more money. And then the next day he went on his private yacht.
Right.
He's a fucking piece of shit.
Right. But, to sit there and blame Chapek for being in this position when you created it.
Here's the thing about Chapek. He was not equipped to handle the keys to the entire kingdom.
No.
He did not have... He was decent at running the parks when he was doing that only. And then when they handed him all the keys and he kept getting... We have to do this. We have to do this. And the movie started failing and coronavirus was eating away at their money. Then he's just trying to stem the bleeding because it's bleeding all over.
Right. But he also didn't want to go into the culture war. He made that clear.
Right.
And he was forced into it by the executives.
Right, but he was too weak to...
He was too weak to prevent it from happening, and he caved.
Right.
And made the problem worse. But the issue is that everybody that made him cave was people that Iger put in place, and Iger put that, the agenda was set by Iger, and Iger made that agenda.
Yeah, but he's
even
a
forceful.
psychopath. He's not going to own it.
No. And so, again, when he came back, it was, I'm doubling down on woke. I'm not going to I know I can see everything that's failing, but I'm going to double down. And then look at what's happened since he's come back.
But like,
it's gotten 10 times worse.
Here's the thing, right? I'm all for strong females. I mean, I just finished the Mortal Kombat story. Talk about strong females, right?
Yeah.
But when you're telling a story like Snow White, and you fundamentally change all the characters, and I'm going in thinking I'm getting Snow White and I get something else, I feel like you pulled the rug over me.
Yeah. Well, but, obviously we can't, the actors are on strike. They can't promote, right? But the director of the Marvels is out there promoting. And what do you think we're hearing? We're hearing, well, if you don't support it, you're a male chauvinist, you're a Nazi, she's a woman of color, so you're a racist, you're a homophobe. Every single Disney talking point, every single Disney agenda point, she has gone on in her interviews promoting the Marvels, attacking the fans. I'm getting ready for all the trolls because I know that they're going to troll just like they did the first Captain Marvel, because no one wants a woman to be the center of a superhero movie. We're hearing all the same talking points. And now,
right, instead of just owning that it's a bad story, right, you're saying to me, like, look, I support you doing the Marvels. I support you doing it.
Sure.
But if it sucks, I'm going to fucking tell you it sucks, and I'm not going to support it.
Right.
Not because I am a male chauvinist or I care that there's a woman of color in one of the lead roles. I don't give a shit about any of that.
No one. Most people don't.
Right.
Some do, sure.
Right. There are shitheads.
Right.
There will always be shitheads.
Right.
But I would say that the majority of the people, especially fans, are not like that.
But here's the thing. Captain Marvel, the movie, was a terrible movie.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Miss Marvel...
It wasn't the worst film ever.
No,
but it's one of the worst Marvel
it's one of the,
films.
Right, I'm talking in the Marvel universe, it's one of the worst Marvel movies they put out. Miss Marvel for Disney Plus shows was the worst.
Yeah, it didn't garner a lot. Now, I didn't hear. I heard it wasn't bad. It just didn't garner a lot of attention.
Right. But then they just put it out on ABC for free.
Yeah.
And it tanked.
Because nobody likes it.
Right. No one likes it. And WandaVision did okay, but no one cares about the Monica Rambeau character in WandaVision. That did okay because of Wanda.
Wanda, and they were curious to see, what was the deal with Vision, and it was right after Endgame.
And it was the first ever Disney Plus series.
Right,
so
and it was,
they had that too.
There was a lot of creativity in it too.
So I'm just saying, you're taking three characters that don't have a fan base.
Right, you're taking C-list characters.
Right, that don't have a fan base in the comics whatsoever. And you're sitting there saying, oh, if you don't support it, well, it's never been supported.
No.
Everything prior to this movie has not been supported because we don't like these characters.
I saw one Captain Marvel, like one little girl cosplay as Captain Marvel at the con.
Yeah, that's it.
One.
Yeah, that's it. No one does.
Everyone else was doing Loki.
And there was no
Wonder
Miss Marvel.
Woman. No, there was no Miss Marvel.
No. And most females, if they're not doing a female character, would rather gender swap than be Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel. They would rather be a female Batman or a female Spider-Man or a female Loki or whomever. They would rather do those cosplays than either Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel. And no one dresses like Monica Rambeau ever.
No.
So you have no built-in...
But that's the thing is that, you can say that, oh, I'm a male chauvinist, right? But I was at a Comic Con watching all the cosplay, and I saw one little girl dressed as Captain Marvel.
Right.
So if your audience is one little girl, or however that translates, that's not enough.
Right. But so my point in saying this is, if Bob Iger is not full of shit like I believe he is, then you need to immediately talk to this director and say, you're not going to go and do any more interviews promoting the Marvels talking like that, saying those things.
I think the first thing they need to do is stop with blaming the fans.
Yeah, stop alienating the fan base.
That shit has to stop.
It has to stop. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but even one of the execs at WB was talking shit, and they were like, "Oh, you've had it so good for so long."
Yeah, that piece of shit. Yeah,
and it's just like,
yeah, we're going to raise costs because you've got too much content for virtually free. Like, screw you.
It's just like, okay, I'm going to go on YouTube, then eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying is you can't abuse your consumers.
Right. But we're so tired of being, like, when are you going to stop saying things that everybody knows is patently false? Because what
about Willow? Remember Willow, how bad it was?
Yeah.
And, like, we're all sitting here going like, this is not Willow. This is terrible. And what did they say? Well, you just don't like it because there's a lesbian love story. And it's like, I could give a fuck. I don't like it because you're bastardizing the source material.
Yeah.
And where is it now? Gone.
Right. Gone.
Delisted.
Yeah. I mean, Ahsoka, although people are saying it's not bad for the most part, isn't getting watched.
No.
Because people are tired. People are tired of you constantly bashing them for not loving everything that you do, regardless of the quality of it. You can put out a piece of garbage show, and you're just going to blame the fans over and over.
Here's the thing. There are, like, if it was every single, female-led property, maybe they would be on to something, right? But there are outliers. You have Last of Us, which did incredibly well, which has both gay and lesbian stories in it. You have Barbie, which did incredibly well, directed by a woman, female empowerment. It did well. No one's shitting on that.
No. I mean, Wonder Woman, when that came out,
the first one did incredibly well.
And the second one didn't do as well and was divisive, but it's not overall hated.
No, and it's not divisive because of Wonder Woman.
No.
It's divisive because it was an overly long, very preachy, kind of a mess of a film.
Yeah, and things in it didn't make sense. Like the cheetah element of it didn't make sense.
No, you sacrificed arguably Wonder Woman's greatest villain to tell a story about Trump.
Yeah. And so those were the things that were rejected. But overall, like, I don't see many people complaining about Wonder Woman in the movie. You know what I mean? That's not where the movie fell apart.
No.
And so, again, there are plenty
Nobody was complaining about Catwoman in the Batman either.
Of course not.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is, like, there are, it's not like we're sitting here and going like, oh, any film that has diversity or, female leads or anything is terrible. It's like, no, but this subsection of shit is bad now.
Right. And you just can't blame the fans if they don't like it because you put out something that was terrible. And then you're hearing about, like, the She-Hulk actress being pissed off that she's not getting the same money as the actors on One Piece. And it's like,
right, but One Piece was fantastic.
Right. I mean, we're like, again, your contracts are your contracts and
first
whatever.
Of all,
but let's not compare quality.
First of all, it's two different companies.
Right.
Start there.
Right.
Second of all, just looking at the quality of One Piece versus the quality of She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
She-Hulk doesn't even have an ending to the season.
No. But that's my whole thing. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, the quality of the shows aside, you negotiated your contract before the show came out.
But like the caliber of roles that you pick, and she's not a bad actress.
No.
Right? So it's not her.
Right.
But at the same time, you signed up to do this piece of shit show. That lowers your stock.
Exactly. And now you have, did you see Leslie Jones came out? She's doing a book. You know who Leslie Jones is,
do,
right?
Yeah.
And now she just came out and she's bitching about Ghostbusters 2016. Right? How many years later, and you're bitching about how much you got paid for Ghostbusters 2016, and then bitching about, you know, how people hated that movie in 2023. And it's like, you know, look, you made a shitty movie, and you yourself were awful in it. And
nobody liked Ghostbusters,
right? And you didn't. And because,
but here's the thing, she's in that show. Our Flag Means Death.
Okay,
she's fine in that.
Okay,
it's not like she's bad all the time or anything.
No, but
in Ghostbusters, they were all bad,
right? And again, your stock didn't rise.
No,
okay,
no,
that's
went
on
down.
you. That's on you. That's not on us. That's not on the paying consumer. That's on you.
Right.
You did a terrible. You took a part in an awful movie, and you were awful in it. And so your stock did not rise.
And you can,
that's
you can
on
take
you.
a part in a bad movie. It happens.
Sure.
It happened to Cavill.
It happens to every actor.
But
just about.
his stock didn't get lowered because of The Witcher.
No,
do you know
absolutely.
What I mean?
He's
like,
so in demand right now.
But what I'm saying
then.
is that you know if you play things right, you can be in a shitty situation and still have your stock go up.
Right. I mean, again, if you did a good job in a bad movie, you're still going to be looked at as, well, that wasn't your fault. You gave it your all, but you had no material to work with.
Right.
No, you had no material to work with, and it showed that you had no chops because you were even worse than the material given to you.
Right. So that's the thing, is that you have to stop blaming fans. If a movie is bad, it's bad.
Right.
End
Just
of
accept
period,
it.
end of sentence.
Right. But, I mean, again, don't sit there and tell me that you're going to stop the culture war until you actually do it.
What's the end game? Like, all right, let's just, for the sake of argument, say, you know, you and I shut up, and it's just like, okay, whatever, and then you just keep making shitty stuff. Like, is that the end game, and you just hope you do better over time?
I suppose.
It's just wild. I don't know. I don't understand it.
No, and nor do I. But I don't think that we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see any change. I think that this is just to try to get the stock to rise.
Yeah,
that's all I think it is.
Before he bails.
Right.
All right. With that, let's put this one to bed. Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on?
Well, now that the con is over, before we get to another one, back at work on finishing up some Chapter 2 of Eva. Again, Chapter 1 out on Webtoons. Go check it out.
All right, guys. So that's episode 72 of The Corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. Making a lot of sales on Etsy, so
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Check out our socials. I'm still doing the coaster, doing different ones, but like I like the exercise of doing one a day.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's listening, you know, if you like artwork, you like the things we talk about, you like the comic book, you know, the whole universe of it, check out the socials. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised what you'll find there.
But what do you guys think? Do you go to Comic Cons? Do you like them? Are you excited for Aquaman? Do you think it's the greatest move ever that Bill Willingham put Fables in the public domain? Do you think copyright needs reform? And how do you feel about Disney leaving the culture war? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.